A scrambled egg is mush, tasty mush, but it's mush. An egg is a beautiful, sophisticated thing that can create even more sophisticated things, such as chickens. And we know in our heart of hearts that the universe...
In 2014, a relatively unknown scientist named David Christian took the TED stage, not with flashy visuals or celebrity buzz, but with a humble promise to tell the history of the universe in 18 minutes. By the end of his talk, the audience wasn't just clapping, they were awestruck. What made it work wasn't just the content, it was the structure, the pacing, the delivery, and the seamless connection between speaker and audience. His message wasn't a flood of facts, it was a river, powerfully channeled. And that's the hidden truth of unforgettable communication. Brilliance alone isn't enough. The most powerful messages are those delivered through intentional architecture, the crafted container that focuses attention, stirs emotion, and propels action. This isn't just about learning to speak. It's about learning to shape your ideas like a master artisan channels a roaring current. What follows is your blueprint, not for the river, but for the box that turns its wild energy into lasting impact.
The three things that I want to leave with you, just these three. I could do 10, I could do a whole life class. But just these three things will carry you if you let them.
In today's hyper-distracted world, grabbing attention isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Whether you're delivering a keynote, pitching an idea, or presenting a product, your opening moments are everything. The truth is, if you don't captivate your audience within the first 10 to 30 seconds, you risk losing them entirely. As the saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That quote, popularly attributed to Will Rogers, has never felt more relevant in the era of information overload. Great communicators know that a compelling hook is the golden ticket. That might come in the form of a surprising anecdote, a jaw-dropping statistic, or a bold, provocative question. These storytelling techniques don't just inform, they emotionally engage. From the get-go, the goal is to spark curiosity and create a sense of, "This matters to me." One powerful strategy is problem-solution framing. Begin by tapping into a real challenge your audience faces. Once that pain point is surfaced, offer a hint at the solution you're about to unveil. This sets the stage with relevance and value, turning passive listeners into invested participants who are eager to hear what's next. And let's not forget visual impact. Your first slide or visual element should be clean, bold, and emotionally resonant. Minimal text, powerful imagery, design that communicates before you even speak. When done right, visuals don't just complement the message, they elevate it. Few exemplify this art better than Steve Jobs. In his iconic keynotes, Jobs never opened with specs or charts. Instead, he told stories, highlighted problems we didn't even know we had, and invited the audience into a shared vision of a better future. Remember the MacBook Air reveal? He pulled it out of a slim envelope, making a technical marvel feel like magic. His approach was rooted not in data, but in drama, and it worked. An unforgettable presentation isn't just a pile of bullet points thrown on a slide, it's a thoughtfully constructed journey. It guides the audience step by step through a logical flow, gradually building understanding, trust, and conviction. Persuasion isn't about flooding people with data, it's about leading them with intention. As Woodrow Wilson famously said, "If you want me to speak for 2 minutes, it will take me 3 weeks to prepare." A reminder that clarity, brevity, and structure demand serious effort. One timeless technique that great communicators rely on is the rule of 3. Human brains naturally latch onto patterns, and organizing ideas into 3-part clusters makes content easier to remember and emotionally resonate. Think of phrases like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or stop, drop, and roll. They stick because they're structured for recall. Another essential element is call to action clarity. No matter how inspiring or informative your message is, if your audience leaves unsure of what to do next, the impact evaporates. The best communicators are crystal clear. They don't just inform, they invite action. Whether it's buying into a vision, funding a venture, or changing a habit, the path forward must be obvious and compelling. Then there's the role of data visualization. Instead of overwhelming the audience with spreadsheets or raw statistics, effective presenters turn numbers into visual stories. A simple, well-designed graph can shift perception more than an entire paragraph of explanation. It's not about dumbing data down, it's about making it speak. We can see this structural brilliance play out in real-world examples. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech used repetition, emotional rhythm, and a crystal-clear vision to galvanize a movement. Similarly, TED Talks, with their tight 18-minute limit, force speakers to trim the fat and deliver powerful messages with focus and flow. Even Shark Tank investor pitches follow a proven structure: problem, solution, market, team, and ask. These presentations work not just because of what's said, but how it's laid out. Research backs this up. Studies consistently show that when information is organized into a clear narrative framework, audience retention and comprehension skyrocket. People don't remember isolated data. They remember the story it told and how it made them feel. Great communication isn't just about what's said, it's about how it's felt. A speaker's presence, tone, and body language often speak louder than their actual words. In fact, studies show that nonverbal cues account for the majority of emotional impact in face-to-face communication. As political strategist Frank Luntz aptly put it, "It's not what you say, it's what they hear." And what they hear is deeply influenced by your voice, your posture, your eyes, your energy. Let's start with vocal variety. A monotone voice is a fast track to boredom, no matter how brilliant your content is. Skilled speakers vary their tone, pace, and volume to guide the listener's attention and emotions. Strategic pauses allow key ideas to sink in and give space for emphasis, like punctuation in spoken form. A well-placed silence can be as powerful as a dramatic crescendo. Then there's body language, which acts as a visual amplifier of your message. Open stances, steady eye contact, and purposeful gestures exude confidence and clarity. Conversely, closed arms, nervous fidgeting, or lack of eye engagement can dilute the message, no matter how well crafted it is. The body is part of the message. And when your verbal and non-verbal cues align, you become magnetic. Perhaps most powerful of all is authenticity, the courage to be real. Audiences don't just want to be informed, they want to connect. When you allow your genuine self to come through and even show moments of vulnerability or personal insight, you build deep rapport. That's not weakness, it's credibility. It's what transforms a speaker into a human being that people trust and believe. Consider some standout examples. Barack Obama mastered calm gravitas, using his voice and presence to project unity and hope. Tony Robbins, on the other hand, brings electric energy to every stage, using movement, voice, and direct engagement to stir action. Then there's Simon Sinek, whose calm confidence, clear pacing, and purposeful pauses made his Start With Why talk one of the most viewed TED Talks of all time. A great presentation doesn't just talk at an audience, it talks with them. While many speakers focus on delivering their message with precision, the real magic lies in adaptability. The most impactful communicators treat every presentation as a two-way street, not a solo performance. As former US Secretary of State Dean Rusk wisely noted, the best way to persuade people is with your ears, by listening to them. Active engagement is not a bonus feature. It's the backbone of persuasive communication. This begins with active listening and Q&A mastery. Handling questions isn't just about having answers. It's about making the audience feel heard. Great presenters lean into questions, not away from them. They acknowledge concerns, clarify confusion, and often use questions as springboards to reinforce key points. When a speaker listens intently and responds with clarity and respect, they don't lose control of the room. They gain trust. Then there's flexibility and improvisation, an often overlooked but essential skill. No matter how well rehearsed a talk is, real-life presentations rarely go exactly as planned. A shift in audience mood, a tough question, or a technical glitch can throw things off. The best speakers don't just cope, they pivot with grace. They can adjust their tone, skip a section, or expand on an idea in response to real-time dynamics. That responsiveness doesn't weaken the message, it enhances its relevance. Equally crucial is empathy, truly understanding who you're speaking to. Tailoring your message to the audience's values, knowledge level, cultural background, and current concerns makes your content resonate on a deeper level. It's the difference between delivering a generic message and crafting an experience that feels personal and meaningful. We see this adaptability in action across fields. Top sales professionals thrive by reading the room, handling objections smoothly, and tailoring pitches to specific client pain points. Great teachers and lecturers constantly assess whether students are grasping the material and adjust their teaching style accordingly. And in political debates, the strongest candidates don't just stick to talking points. They respond dynamically to opponents and audience reactions, reframing arguments as needed. The impact of this responsiveness is measurable. Studies in education and professional development consistently show that interactive experiences lead to higher engagement and retention than passive lectures. Whether through live polls, Q&A segments, or simply adjusting tone and pace based on audience feedback, dynamic interaction makes a message stick. A truly great presentation doesn't end when the speaker walks off stage. It begins there. The most powerful communicators understand that their words are meant to ripple outward, sparking thoughts, emotions, and actions long after the final slide fades. Rather than overwhelming the audience with vague takeaways, impactful presenters deliver a crystal clear next step. Whether it's a shift in mindset, a concrete behavior, or an invitation to collaborate, this directive should be compelling enough to stick in the listener's mind and simple enough to act on immediately. But the echo doesn't sustain itself by accident. Great communicators understand the importance of follow-up and reinforcement. They create ways to keep the conversation going through follow-up emails, digital resources, online communities, or even future events. This extended engagement transforms passive audiences into active participants, fostering long-term connection and retention. Ultimately, these lasting impressions help build something even bigger, a personal brand and legacy. Speakers who consistently deliver value, authenticity, and insight carve out a reputation that goes beyond individual presentations. They become known not just for what they say, but for what they stand for. This kind of brand building isn't superficial. It's rooted in trust, clarity, and consistent excellence. We see this in action with inspirational speakers like Brené Brown, whose TED Talks on vulnerability didn't just go viral. They changed how millions of people relate to themselves and others. Apple's product launches similarly demonstrate how masterful presentations can create cultural moments, not just sell tech. And in the political world, entire campaigns are built on narrative consistency, where a candidate's repeated messaging and presence shape public opinion over months and years. What all of these examples share is a commitment to leaving the room with more than applause. They leave with momentum. A presentation may only last minutes, but its influence can stretch into months, years, or even lifetimes when it's designed not just to inform, but to ignite. The true measure of success? Not how loud the applause is, but how long the message lingers in hearts and minds. Imagine your message as a powerful river, endlessly flowing with insight, data, and intention. Left unchanneled, it spreads thin across the landscape, its energy dissipating before it ever reaches its true destination. The art of great presentation isn't the river itself, but the expertly crafted channel that contains and directs its force with precision and purpose. It's the framework, the box, you build to transform raw ideas into focused impact. This guide has offered you that blueprint. An engaging opening to capture attention, a logical structure to shape the flow, a compelling delivery to energize it, interactive engagement to sustain momentum, and a powerful closing to ensure lasting influence. You may never own the river, but now you know how to shape its path, turning scattered brilliance into unforgettable power.